So Chris and I are celebrating 20 years of marriage, and we decided to make this video to share with you one thing that each of us has done to make the marriage last this long and be a happy marriage. We can say that we are both at the best time in our relationship, but this has come at a price. We have had to invest in our marriage. We've just shared, Chris has just shared what she did in the first part of this video. If you have not watched it, just go to this address, to this link on your screen right now, and you can watch part 1 so you can understand what she did, what her secret was. Now I want to share with you my secret. I came from a broken home. When I was 13 to 14 years old, my mom and dad had a serious marriage problem and they split up. So that had a very, very deep impact on me. I always held my mom and dad as my heroes. But when I discovered that my dad had cheated on my mom, that he had another woman, he was having an affair, that really pulled the rug from under my feet. It was like the earth opened and I fell in. I just wanted to die. You know, life was finished for me. I didn't have a faith in God at the time. I didn't know God. In fact, that was the reason why I turned to God, because I ended up coming to church to pray for them, and I ended up finding God for myself. So I know what coming from a broken home means. Later on, when I discovered my faith, I realized, looking at my family, that both sides of the family, my mom and my dad's side, most of the couples were either divorced, separated, or living in a marriage of appearance. And the same happened to my parents. So years later, when Chris and I got married, I made a decision in my life. And I said to myself and to God and to the devil that what had happened in my parents' marriage, what was happening in all our families, was not going to happen in my marriage. I made a determination, a decision in my own heart, and I brought God down into this decision as well. Because I knew that it wasn't enough just to say it. A lot of people say this. A lot of people say, no, I'll never make my dad's mistakes. I'll never do what my mom did to my dad or my dad did to my mom. They say it, but they can't help doing the same thing later. Why? Because there is a force that is bigger than them. There was a curse in my family. I can tell you. There was a curse in my family, a curse of divorce that caused all the people to be unhappy in their love lives. So I knew that I had to make a decision to stop that curse, and I couldn't do it by myself. So I had to bring God down into this decision, and I said, God, I want to live a marriage your way. I want to follow your rules for marriage, because it's just a matter of intelligence. If you realize, if you understand that God was the creator of marriage, therefore, He knows how this is supposed to work. One of the reasons many marriages are failing today is because people are trying to do marriage on their terms. They are trying to do marriage according to Hollywood or according to whatever they saw from their parents. And it doesn't work. We have to go back to the beginning, to the root, and do it the right way. So I decided that God was going to be the arbiter. God was going to be the judge in Chris and I's in my relationship with her. So since I decided to do that over the years, this has helped me, has helped us so much, because in times when we had troubles, when we were, upset with each other and we were having our struggles, I drew strength from that decision. I remembered what I had decided, and I realized that the same evil that worked in my parents' marriage was trying now to work in my marriage, in our marriage. And I had to remind myself, no, I will not let that happen. And I would go to God and say, God, give me strength here right now. God, stand up for me. I do not accept that same thing to happen in my family. So this, over the years, has played a major role in the maintenance of our marriage, to keep the evil at bay.
And the faith was not emotional. Because I remember there were times that I was having an emotional faith. And every time, you use your faith with all the crying and tears and complaining and nagging, it doesn't work. Because faith doesn't include emotions. When I remember one time, I even made a song about my marriage, a very sad song. I made a song because even though I believed, even though I was in the church, I had the faith in God, but I wasn't using my faith in the intelligent way. Mm-hmm. I was using it like to pity myself, to feel sorry for myself. Oh, my husband, he's not like that. And I remember praying to God and praying in a sad way, in an emotional way. And all I could get was a relief. All I could get was, God was there for me. Mm-hmm. That strength, to endure the problem. But the only time when I saw changes from my faith was when I acted on them. When I said, I believe, I'm going to act my faith. If God is with me, He's going to help me. And I did something about it.
No feelings, just a decision.
Because a lot of Christians, they go to church every week and they say they believe in God and they are very good people, but they are going through hell in their marriage. And they don't know how to use that faith in their marriage with the real problems they go through. They know how to use that faith when it comes to not doing what's wrong, staying away from sin and stuff. But when it comes to solving a problem that is, beyond their strength to, they don't know how to use it. And so they go into this emotional trend, and they, especially as women, we need to vent at others, we need to talk to other friends, and our friends usually give us all kinds of wrong advices. You need to leave him, you need to and of course we only tell our friends our side of the story, so we always the ones losing.
Right.
But when we use our faith in an intelligent way, we use it smart. We are smart about it. Okay, God, if God is with me, I'm going to do this, and this is going to work. Maybe it's not going to work tomorrow. I'm maybe not going to see results tomorrow or next week, but I believe I'm going to be stuck with this faith. I believe that God is with me, and my marriage is going to work. And I'm not going to have the same marriage that my mom had or my parents had. I'm not going to have the same failure that people around me are having. I'm going to be different. So you do what it takes. So it's not just, mentally you believe. You're doing something as well.
Right. That's the proof of faith. It's when you do, not when you know, not when you pray, but when you do what you say and what God says you have to do. Right? This is faith. A lot of people pray, but they want to hear from God what pleases them, what they like, what they would like to hear. But when God tells them they have to do something that is hard, they don't want to do it.
And they even say, well, I don't have the strength. God, give me the strength to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But if God is asking us, that means we can do it.
God never asks us to do something we can't. He knows. So it's important that you realize the role of faith, the role of God in your marriage. And I'm not talking about a religion, because what I'm saying here is this. Like, I take it from my example. There was an evil in my family that destroyed marriages. And I don't think my family was different or special in that way. I think, and what I see happening in the world today, is that there is an evil, generally speaking, and evil working to destroy marriages in the world. Why? Because if God is the creator of marriage, of course, God's enemy wants what? To destroy marriages. And what do you see happening in the world today? Marriages failing. More than half of marriages end up in divorce, generally. So, if your marriage is going down the drain, you have to know this is not the work of God, this is not the will of God, it's not the work of good, it's the work of evil in your marriage. And if you want to resist this work of evil, it's not with counselors. It's not paying counselors for advice, for marriage advice, or reading books. What you need is to use your faith to attack the root problem of your marriage, which is a spiritual problem. It's a problem happening there in the background where you don't see, right? You don't realize why you do the things that you know you shouldn't be doing. There are smart people. Chris and I counsel smart people who are smart in their workplace. They are lawyers. They are executives, business executives. They are business owners. People who have a mind for business. They are very smart in what they do, but they do stupid things in their marriage. Why is that? Because there is an evil that doesn't let you do what you know is right. So the only way for you to overcome that is for you to use your faith. One example I can give you. I grew up seeing my dad giving my mom the silent treatment. And I would hate, those were some of the worst times in my childhood, when I would come home and I would see my dad pass by my mom and not even look at her. I said, why? How can he do that? I hated what he did. When I grew older and I got married to Chris, though I hated what my dad did, I did the same to her. What was that? That was a force of evil that was right there in my blood already. What I had to unlearn and could not do just with my mental strength, I had to use my faith to rid myself from that spirit that was in my family. So if you want to be free from this marriage problem you have, if you want to last in your relationship, it cannot be done without the help of faith, without the help of God. And I don't know if you believe in God. I don't know if you have a religion. I don't care. I'm not here trying to proselytize you, to convert you. I'm telling you what works. Marriage is God's idea, is God's design. If you want it to work, follow His advice. You don't know what it is? You don't know what God expects from us in a marriage, what He advises in a marriage? Get in touch with us or go to a church, a good church where there are people. Find out, because if you want, you will find. And then do it, and you will see what works. Forget about the advice of people, books, gurus, psychologists who are divorced themselves and write books about marriage. Okay? So think about that and apply this to your life, because then you will see that it will work. Okay? It's been working for us for 20 years. And we're looking forward to 20 more as partners. In Jesus' name. Okay? Thank you. God bless you. And until next time. Bye-bye.